So I'm choosing to respond to a few of these slides, and the first one is the anti-racism and social justice slide here, where we see some of the Heaton data being utilized in saying that Heaton Elementary has a 9% suspension rate in the school. This is a really good way of kind of seeing where some social justice or some social injustice can be happening in the schools. And as it says here, it can be a way to reflect power struggles between student and teacher. And we can see some of these inequities in our own personal biases that we bring to our job as teachers or as administrators. We can also see it as the injustices in the access to education that we see for everybody. So some students might be able to access education easier, whereas other students may not. It may be harder for some students to make it to the classroom on time, where other students, it's easy for them to make it on time. Some students may have nothing to worry about but the education in front of them, where the other students might be having a lot of things going on at home, where behaviors in class, paying attention, getting to school on time, following the rules are the least of their worries in the larger scheme of their day. So a big thing that this slide kind of brings up, and something that we can do as educators in a way to kind of take the social justice temperature of the room, is to kind of check in with ourselves as educators and administrators, and kind of face our own biases that we have. And really sit with those and really discover what those are, and have that discussion with ourselves and understand that we need to lead with empathy and understanding that not all students come from the same background, not all students come from the same place, and not all students have the same challenges. So with doing that, we can kind of see that may be able to turn the tables on this suspension rate. If that we are able to kind of see that maybe the student who is having these behaviors in the class, maybe they're having these behaviors in the class because this is somewhere that they feel safe, and somewhere that they feel that they are going to be loved no matter what they do, and these behaviors may be them unmasking. It could also be the only attention they tend to get either at home or in the classroom is if it's negative attention. So maybe kind of taking these students, and instead of just immediately suspending them, looking at what we can do for the student to kind of put that energy in a positive way. Maybe it's saying, hey, why don't you help me put the chairs out in the morning? Why don't you be my helper with something that is specifically just for you, that is attention just for you? Maybe you're my person who takes things to the office. Giving them jobs instead of giving them discipline is a really great way, especially in the kindergarten and first grade levels, to make the students who are maybe acting out behaviorally feel special and feel loved and feel like they're getting that attention that they may need in a positive way and not in a negative way. Again, that makes us teachers be able to kind of look at these students that we may typically label as difficult and see a way that we can change not only our heads but our hearts toward those students and see what we can do for them, and that will really help that number as well. So I really enjoyed this slide. The next one that I wanted to kind of touch on was the culturally sustaining pedagogy one, where we talk about Paris and Aleem and what they kind of discuss, where it's valuing people's linguistics and valuing people's communities and home languages, and what a big difference that makes in the classroom and to the child when they when they feel seen and they feel understood and they feel celebrated. With some of the Heaton documentation and data, we see that 95% of students in Heaton Elementary are living below the poverty line, which is a large number and really does change a lot of things for your classroom. Not only does it change the fact that you have a lot of kids who are probably coming into your classroom with a lot bigger worries than the spelling test or what's going on in the classroom. They probably have worries of finances that they've overheard at home, possibly where their next meal is coming from. Maybe they didn't have heat that day. Maybe the electricity's not there. There's a lot of things that could be on these young people's minds that we don't really think about, that can be kind of keeping them from that education. Another thing that we can kind of do for both of these and anchor both of those children is we make our classroom feel like a very safe place. We have books about different cultures. We have art from different cultures. We tell stories that may be in languages that are familiar to some of our students and maybe unfamiliar to others, and make those differences feel accepted and not different, but something that makes them unique and special. We can sing songs from other cultures and discuss how meaningful those are to other people and equate those to the cultures that are in our classroom primarily, and say, hey, you know how you celebrate this holiday? Well, this family maybe celebrates this holiday, and it's kind of the same thing, but it feels great to be with family, and it's important to everybody. We can do these too with projects, handouts, things like that around those times of years, even bringing in food items that might help kind of really drive those home. Speaking of food items, another way to make our classroom feel comfortable is bringing in snacks and bringing in food to make the students who feel like maybe they don't know where their next meal is coming from outside of the classroom feel like this is, again, somewhere that they feel very safe, very loved, and very cared for. Lastly, I do want to talk about UDL. I think that UDL is a great way of utilizing curriculum for all of our students. It's really nice to be able to take your curriculum, for instance, let's say math in the kindergarten and first grade world, and we're going to go ahead and say, okay, let's do 4 corners for our body kinesthetic learners. Let's do our math with different colors for our kids that are a little bit more visual. Let's use blocks. Let's use different modalities that is going to take the one lesson and be able to make it accessible for everyone in the classroom so that everyone is understanding while still learning the same lesson at hand. Overall, I really enjoyed this slide deck, and I think they did a really great job. I do think a lot of these things are feasible in kindergarten and in first grade, and I think that, utilizing all of the things that they discussed would be something that we can absolutely do and easily implement it into the kindergarten first grade classroom. So great job.